Hello everyone and welcome to my channel again. In this tutorial we will work the skirt, the mosaic crochet skirt that I made a while ago. For this tutorial I will only show you the process how to work this skirt, but only on a sample because I didn't have time to um, film the tutorial while I was working on the skirt. It was pretty difficult to make another sample because is it a lot to work on it. So I decided to just make this video tutorial on a sample, and I hope that it will be helpful for you to follow along with the written pattern that you can find as usual on my blog or as a PDF version in my shops. So I hope it will be really helpful for you, and especially to know how to work the stitches in this technique, how to make the increases, and yeah, it will be pretty simple, I promise you. So it will be an easy skirt to work on, even if it's looking like it's this color work. Don't worry about it, you don't need to you just change color at every row, working with a different color row by row, so it will be really easy to make. So let's get started.
Okay, so this is the actual skirt that I worked. It starts with an elastic ribbing that has actually an elastic band in between, and then we will start with the mosaic crochet pattern, and I divided the length into equal section of 10 rounds, surface rounds, because actually they are 20, and I increased at the end of each section, and we will have on one round we have a multiple of 4 stitches to start with. So if you want to change the number of stitches to start with, you just need a multiple of 4. I used this bamboo rainbow from Hobby in natural white and steel gray. These are the colors. And now I will start working on the sample because yeah, I just told you that I made a tutorial explaining on a small sample what we need to do. So first thing, we will start with the elastic ribbing, with a ribbing, and I chose as a pattern the slip stitches in the back loop only, but you can use anything that you would like, even if it doesn't has the same gauge, because you will adjust that with the elastic band itself. So we will start with 21 stitches. And then starting with the second stitch, we will slip stitch into each stitch. I'm saying that it's totally okay to change this ribbing stitch pattern, this waistband stitch pattern, because I know that it's taking a lot of time to make it in slip stitches. So if you don't have enough patience, you can do it in any stitch pattern, either in the single crochet. Only that you need to have approximate 8 centimeter wide, because then we will fold it and we will have a double waistband, and inside it will be the elastic band. So now we finished the first row, so we will chain 1 and turn, and we will start working just into the back loop of the stitch, and we will work also slip stitches. The idea with the back loop slip stitches is to work the stitches looser because it will be then easier to work with. And I forgot to say that we will need, I'm using this yarn that I'm using is sport weight yarn, and I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, but you will find all the details about the materials into the description box. So now we will continue to slip stitch into the back loop only. To the end of the row. And now we will chain 1 and keep repeating this second row until we have in total 164 rows. So I'm working size small right now, so I made in total 164 rows because this was the amount of stitches that I needed to start with for considering the mosaic crochet pattern gauge, because we will use as a reference that gauge, because this one from the waistband will be adjusted with the elastic band. So now, because I said that we will fold this waistband, it will be really useful to use some stitch pattern to mark the first row. It will be better if you will be using it to mark the first and the last stitch of the first row, because then when folding it will be easier to know where to start the joining. So now we will have to continue and work the 164 rows. If you need more rows to start with, and I'm using as a reference my hip circumference, and this should be because I have 90 centimeter my actual hips, and according with this mosaic gauge I started with 82 centimeters, so it needs to be a bit smaller. So now, after finishing the ribbing, we will join this end, so basically the first row with the last one, and we will use slip stitches for joining. So we need to do that to make a circle, and then our yarn will land on the other side, and when making the fold we can just continue and join from over there. Okay, now that we finished and we just join, we will fold this ribbing in half, and in between the fold we need to insert elastic band. So now the elastic band I recommend to use a 2 centimeter wide, because it will hold the heaviness of the skirt better than a thinner one. And the elastic band is depending how much it does stretch, because there are different types and over there, but it needs to feel comfortable around your waist. And for example, my waist measures 73 centimeters, and this elastic band for the skirt was 54. So depending on how much it's stretching, then you can just wrap it around your waist and see when it feels comfortable. And then we need to insert this in between the fold. It will be a bit difficult with this smaller piece over here, but and I'm sure that it's not looking the same when you're actually working on a bigger circumference on the waist, but I hope that you will get the correct idea on how or where this elastic band needs to be. So yeah, okay, so basically this is the idea, to be exactly in between the two folded pieces. And now using single crochet stitches, and using again as reference the 2-stitch markers that I recommend you to put on the first row, to just join these edges with slip stitches. So I'm trying to see where is the correspondent row is landing, because basically you're getting through the same row, only that the opposite ends of the same row. And at the end of the joining, because this round will count as the first round of the skirt, and it will be necessarily to have the same number of single crochet at the end. So I said that we will work 164 rows for the elastic ribbing. So after joining we will have 164 single crochet. If you decided to change something into the starting chain or adjusting according to your measurements, remember that this needs to be a multiple of 4 stitches. So even if you don't have the multiple of 4, it's okay, you can adjust that with the single crochet stitches, make some increases, some decreases, so at the end of the first row to have a multiple of 4 stitches. We will continue all around, and now we will slip stitch into the first single crochet, and usually for the mosaic crochet patterns, that the next round, because I told you that this will be the first one, the next one is made using the second color, but this time I decided to make it in the same white color, because somehow I will drop the double crochet from the white rows one row below that it's supposed to be, because this is how the stitches will look like starting from the same point. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah. And here's how we are doing the invisible slip stitch for the joining. So getting with the hook from back to front through the back loop only of the first single crochet, then grab the working loop and pass it through. And now we will start directly with the stitch without chaining, and we will work 1 single crochet into the back loop only all around. Now we will close the round with the invisible slip stitch, and we will change the color with the gray. And now we will start with one single crochet into the back loop into the first 3 stitches, and then one double crochet into the front loop 2 rows below, so right into the first single crochet round. And then we will repeat. Just look on the back because one stitch needs to be let without working in it. So then again 3 single crochet into the back loop, then 1 double crochet into the front loop only, into the corresponding stitch at the first round, and we will repeat until the end of the round, this section. So now I have one more double crochet to make, and then we will close the round with the invisible slip stitch, and we will change the color white. Now the next round will be, we will drop the double crochet into the first round as well, because I want the double crochet stitches to be almost aligned. So we will drop them into the first row as well, the same. So now we will work the first 3 stitches, double crochet into the front loop only, into the stitches at the first round, then single crochet into the back loop only and again 3 double crochet, and then 1 single crochet into the back loop only. So what we're doing here, when we have on the previous round we overlay stitches basically, and where we have single crochets into the back loop only, over those stitches we will work double crochet stitches, and where we have double crochet stitches we will work a single crochet into the back loop only, and we will repeat until the end of the round. When we get to the end of the round, we will close the round with the invisible slip stitch, and then we will change the color gray. And now again we will start with single crochet into the back loop only for the next 3 stitches, and then 1 double crochet into the front loop of the stitch of the row in the same color, so basically into that gray double crochet that we have below. And we will repeat to the end of the round. Then close the round with the slip stitch into the back loop, basically. Change the color white, so we will alternate the color at every round until we will finish the skirt. So now we will go with double crochet stitches into the front loops of the white double crochet stitches below. And single crochet into the back loop, into the next stitch, into that double crochet basically. And we will repeat to the end of the round. Okay, we will repeat to the end of the round. Close the round with an invisible slip stitch, and from now we will repeat the last 2 rounds until we will count like the surface rounds, because it's easier, and I do recommend to count the gray one until we have 10 surface rounds, and the 11th into the gray color will be with increases, so we will always increase on the gray round, and you will count 10 rounds. If you want the skirt to be more flared, then you can do the increases even more often, have less rounds in between the increases rounds. So now let's just work a few more rounds over here. Okay, so I just worked 2 more rounds. So now again you need to have 10 rounds. When you're counting 10 rounds in gray color, then you know that you need to work 1 more row in white, and then the next round in gray will be with increases. And now let's just see how it will be with the increases. So the first 3 single crochets into the back loop only will be the same. And as for the double crochet stitches, we will work 2 into the same loop. And this will be the increase section that we will repeat until the end of the round. And now we will change with color white, and the rounds will be pretty similar, so we will start with those surface double crochets. and then single crochet into the back loop only for the next 2 stitches, and we will repeat this section to the end of the round. Okay, now we will have a gray color round again, and we will repeat these 2 rounds again for the 10 rounds, counting only the surface rounds, so there will be 40 rounds in total. So when we are counting with the rows with 2 gray stitches, and we have 10 rows with 2 gray stitches, that means that the next gray round will be with increases. Or again, if you establish a different pattern or a different number of rows in between the increases, when you have that number of rows in gray stitches, means that the next gray round will be with increases. Okay, so now let's just see how we are working the increases right now. It's nothing special or different, but I want to show it to you. So we are starting with the single crochets in the back loop only. Then I will make the increase into the left stitch, because the work tends to go to the right, because we are working only on the right side, and it's better to try to balance that and work the increases into the left stitch. And it will be the same with the next section, because we will have another section with increases. We will do the same, increase into the left stitch, the stitch that is into the left, or the last stitch from the section, from the repeated section. So now we will continue and repeat and increase into the last stitch of the section, and we will work again 10 rounds, counting only the surface rounds, with 3 stitches on the gray color, and then on the 11th we will increase again. And then after finishing everything and finishing the last section, because this will be the last section with 4 stitches, gray 4 stitches, then we finish the length. But if you want to work more, you can either repeat more section, adding more stitches, or to increase the length of the skirt. Now to finish the skirt, for the last row I just choose a single crochet stitches, a regular single crochet through both loops, because the stitches are really simple, the pattern is really simple, and I didn't want it to add anything else. But of course, if you want to finish it in a different way with another stitch pattern, you can do it. And after finishing the last round, I just work only one, but you can work more if you want. The skirt will be done, and you'll have a few ends to weave in, and then you can block it. But this yarn that I use, and usually if you're working in cotton, is pretty easy to keep in shape, so nothing special to do with it. So yeah, this was with the Sensu skirt. Thank you so much for being here with me again, and see you next time. Bye.